Good morning, everybody. This morning we're going to be flying the de Havilland DHC-2 Beaver, probably the quintessential Alaska bush plane. I know you've seen a million of them. It's a really fun airplane to fly, not a really fun airplane to land. This thing was built absolutely 100% for primitive operations. Carries more than enough fuel for what it needs to do, carry a lot of weight. Everything about the airplane is Alaska bush operations. As simple as it can be, as reliable as it can be. If you look at the cargo doors, you can see that you can open and close the cargo doors with the flaps still fully extended. There's a reason for that. This airplane has manual hydraulic pump flaps. So a lot of times if you've got somebody unloading or loading the airplane, you've got a pilot in there hand pumping the hydraulic handle to set the flaps back where they need to be. It's not by accident that the doors are exactly the correct size for rolling a 55-gallon drum in. It's like I said, it's a really fun airplane to fly. It's really stable in flight. A little cantankerous to start up. Not so much fun to land because it is a tail dragger. But I think we'll get through it. Today we're flying from Imperial, KIPL, to Brackett Field in Laverne, KPOC. We're going to do some very low altitude instrument navigation practice today. We're going to climb up to 3,500. Normally along this route, I think the minimum we would be allowed to file for would be a cruise of 6,000 indicated, but for our purposes of demonstration, we're going to do it at 3,500. For the time being, it's not going to be a problem. Here at Imperial, we're 54 feet below sea level. We're parked right up here, up at the fueling station. We're going to taxi down Alpha to Alpha 5, Charlie 5, and then take off runway 26. It's 4,500 feet long. We're only carrying ourselves and fuel today, so we shouldn't need anything like that much runway. This airplane really jumps off the ground if it's not heavily loaded. The only thing we need to worry about is this box in here. Frequent high-speed military jet traffic transits IPL area westbound, descending VFR to NAFL Centro. Avoid 2,500 to 3,500 MSL near IPL and contact NAFL Centro Tower on 119.1 for Navy traffic advisory. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to leave off 26 and start an immediate climbing turn to the right up to the north. And hopefully stay out of everybody's way. We're going to be flying, like I said, the old-fashioned way, VOR to VOR. So from here at Imperial, we're going to fly up to the VOR station at Thermal. Then from Thermal, we're going to go to Palm Springs. And Palm Springs, we can go to Pomona direct. That in and of itself presents a couple of little interesting problems. And we'll get to that as we fly. So let's pull our chocks, get our weights off, get everything closed up, and get ready to fly, and I'll see you inside. Okay, here we are in the cockpit of the Beaver. This is a cantankerous old airplane to get started up. Kind of like driving a 63 Chevy, actually. I'll show you how this works. For the moment here, I'm going to hide the yoke. The first thing we want to do is come down here and turn on a fuel supply. So there, we're going to pull off the forward tank. Then we're going to look right down here. Is a fuel primer. And give that 3 or 4 pumps and pump fuel up into the system. Now if we can zoom in right here on this gauge, we need to be looking for about 5 pounds of fuel pressure. And as the engine is not started yet, we don't have a fuel pump to put fuel in. So we come down here to the wobbler pump and we start manually pumping fuel in. And if we zoom back in, we see we're just about 5 pounds. We'll give it one more pump on the wobble. Yeah, there we go. We're about 5 pounds of fuel pressure. The next thing we want to do is turn on our electricity. Turn on a couple lights to let people know we've got a live aircraft. Turn on fuel booster. We want to run our carburetor mixture all the way full. Then we want to pump the throttle about 4 times. And then leave it cracked open 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch there. Now we're going to hit the starter. Let it run through about 3 times. And hit the mag. And there we go. We're fired up. Close the door. Turn the radio power on. Pitot heat on. Okay. Now, this airplane takes a long time to warm up, about 10 full minutes. Yes, I know the directional gyro isn't aligned yet. I haven't done it. So what we're going to do is, while the airplane's warming up, I'm going to taxi out to the runway, and I will see you there. Okay, we're back. We've been sitting idling for about 10 minutes. Came over to the runway. If you look down here, our oil temperature has just come up into the normal range, and our cylinder head temperature is warm enough. We're ready to go flying. Something interesting about this airplane is it only has one control yoke, but if you want the co-pilot to fly, you simply pull this pin and swivel the yoke over to his side and let him fly it for a while. That said, let's taxi onto the runway and get started. I picked up a little trick, make it easier to see where we're going. If you sit real tall up in the seat and crane your head up to the left, you can kind of see where you're going. So we've got our carb mixture full, propeller pitch full. We're going to drop the brakes. Turn onto the runway. Full throttle. Almost immediately picks the tail up. And there we go. We're flying. Start climbing out to the right like we said. Hide the yoke again for a minute. autopilot. Kind of wobbles a little bit, that's not bad. I'll bring my prop pitch back in a little bit. And I'm going to slow us down a little bit. We don't want to be going this fast. We're looking at cruise about 140. That should work. Now, let's start to navigate a little bit, shall we? Our first navigational beacon is thermal, just on the north end of the Salton Sea. See the Salton Sea right out there. And the radio frequency for thermal is 116.2. We're going to turn nav 1 to 162. And turn it on. Here's the most important gauge in the whole shooting match, our omni-bearing selector, or OBS. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can fly to this vertical bar, or turn the gauge until the vertical bar is lined up, and that will show you the heading that you want. That looks like about 310 degrees. We're going to come over here and turn our gyro. See the little bug on the gyro to pull a heading of about 310. That looks like about 3-1. The OBS gauge, I'll zoom in again for you. The little orange triangle here shows that we are heading to the radio signal. That's going to be important later on. But here's the Imperial Valley. That's the top end of that ought to be Brawley we're passing by. If you need to see how disorienting this can be, we know exactly where we're going, but let's change it to middle of the night. I've got the cabin lights on to make everything easier to see, but if you're flying along at night, you can't really use the Salton Sea as a cheat. You just have to trust the gauges.